Hello everyone. Hi guys. My name's Mikey. What's the tea? I'm here to do a review on the new video game that was released 3rd April 2020 by Capcom called Resident Evil 3. I do not want to bash the game. I'm not going to bash it. I'm not gonna hate on this game. I'm not gonna tell people to not play the game. This is art that was made by someone/peoples, and I completely respect what was pushed out on that day for us to enjoy and play. And I did just that. I enjoyed it, and I made sure to keep in mind that lately Capcom hasn't been making Resident Evil games how they did back in the 90s and early 2000s. Yeah, I went in this ready to enjoy whatever was thrown at me. But I will say that Resident Evil 3 is not a remake at all of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. First of all, the game is very short, which is kind of a problem, but it's kind of not at the same time. That's not my main problem. My main problem is actually the fact that it's just so different. I love remakes. When there's articles, whether it's fake or real, about how a movie's gonna be remade, I am excited, and I see comments of people saying it's gonna be lame, don't touch that movie, for what? There's always this stigma towards remakes, and I never really understood why. I love remakes. I literally envision all these oldies and classics, and I'm just I would totally remake that in my vision, and I would totally pay the utmost respect towards the source. And I feel like that wasn't done for this Resident Evil 3 remake. I would show you the box of Resident Evil 3 remake, but I don't have the box. I don't have the disc. I have the game, and it's on my PlayStation 4 Pro with the entire situation that's happening right now with the pandemic and the coronavirus situation. I didn't go out to buy it. I instead stayed home and downloaded it on my PlayStation, bought it off the PSN, aka the PlayStation Network, if you didn't know what PSN meant. Yeah, I bought it on the PlayStation and I downloaded it and I played it from there. It was easy peasy and no stress. I pre-ordered it and I got my content that it came with if you pre-ordered it, which was the classic outfit for Jill and the classic hair for Carlos. So yeah, I love remakes, and I even love reimaginings, not as much as I love remakes. Reimaginings, I'm and that's what this game was. This was a reimagining. Reimaginings, I'm I guess, whatever. The music is really, really good. The music is so incredibly orchestrated and so incredibly amazing to listen to. I love the music in Resident Evil 3 Remake. It's so awesome, for real. It's great. But something I don't really understand also is why the fuck did Nikolai tell Jill to go to the subway, but then when he gets to the subway, he's asking what is she doing there? This is not a video at all about Resident Evil 2 Remake or Resident Evil 7, but I am going to kind of talk a little bit about them. So Resident Evil 7 really pissed me off. I think that game is shit. I hate that fucking game. I think it's a good game. I just think it's a horrible Resident Evil game, and it's an embarrassment to the franchise. I really hate it. Could I do a better job? Fuck yeah, at least writing it and at least directing it. Probably making it as in designing it and stuff. Art-wise, probably not, because I'm not an artist like that, but I definitely would have written a better story for 7. Fuck yeah, I would have. Same for 2 and same for 3. I'm very passionate about this franchise. I've been a fan since I was 7 years old. I've been playing Resident Evil since then, and I love Resident Evil so much. My first Resident Evil game was actually Resident Evil 2, and that was actually my favorite Resident Evil game of all time until Resident Evil 1 Remake came out, which is this one right here, Resident Evil 1 Remake. What this game did for the original Resident Evil is just beyond human comprehension, in my opinion. It's just so beautiful. It's just so well crafted. It's such a experience. It's just such an art piece. I love Resident Evil 1 Remake and Resident Evil 1, of course, but ever since Resident Evil 1 Remake came out, it just set the bar really high, and I just fell in love with that game. Now, I love the original Resident Evil games. I love 1, I love 2, I love 3, I love Code Veronica, I love Survivor, I love 0, I love the remake. I basically have fallen in love with the franchise up until Resident Evil 4. When I played Resident Evil 4, it is a good game and it is a good Resident Evil game, but when I played Resident Evil 4, I said, this is just not a Resident Evil game. It just was way too different. There are no zombies. The camera perspective changed, but that's a good thing. I liked the camera change. I love both of the camera perspectives, and I'm open to also playing first person and VR. I'm open for all of them. My favorite though is behind the shoulder, but I do love also static cams, and Resident Evil being static camera is something that I'll never forget and I'll always appreciate. I think that Resident Evil 3 is a missed opportunity, and so is Resident Evil 2, the remake, honestly. And I'm just pissed because I do deep deeply feel that they're good games. I do deeply feel that they're good Resident Evil games. Okay, but I just don't think that they're good remakes of 2 and 3. I just think that 2 was closer to its original than 3 was, for sure, without a doubt. Like, 3 was completely different. 3 felt like an entirely new game, completely new experience, and it's not a good thing because Resident Evil 1 Remake felt like a new game as well, but it just didn't feel like a completely changed story. Things were added to it. Not much, but some things were added to Resident Evil 1 Remake that I was like, I dig this. I love the remake so much. If you haven't checked it out, actually I think it was like named one of the best games of all time, Resident Evil 1 Remake. Yeah, for real. As far as 2 and 3 goes, they had shit removed. Like, they had enemies removed, they had locations removed. I enjoyed reading the leaks of 2 and 3 more than I did actually playing the games 2 and 3 remakes. I know that Resident Evil 2 at first was supposed to be a remake. There was a video of one of the game producers with a shirt. He reveals we do it, and then there's like a screen with Resident Evil 2 Remake on it. So I know for a fact Resident Evil 2 Remake was supposed to be a remake, not a reimagining, and somehow it just became a reimagining. There were so many leaks about Resident Evil 2, like Ada having more weapons, Ada's campaign being expanded upon, the city being expanded upon. Oh my god, like, we'll talk about that right now. A bunch of stuff, a bunch of leaks that I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna like this game. And then when we got the final product, it was just not at all what, honestly, I didn't really like Resident Evil 2 as a remake. I liked it as a game, I liked it as a Resident Evil game, but as a remake of 2, honestly, it was shit. I'm sorry. If you liked it as an actual remake of 2, like, I'm very genuinely happy for you that something managed to please you. Yeah, I just had a higher expectation for this game, like, so much higher. The streets of Raccoon City, I remember playing it, and it was rumored that the streets of Raccoon City were going to be expanded upon. And then when I played the game, the city was actually shortened, and I was so mad. That's like probably what pissed me off the most, the city section. And when I would go on like gamesfaq.com and like go and put my opinion, people would be like, dude, chill out. Like, the streets is being saved for Resident Evil 3 Remake. And I'm like, okay, I understand, but still, like, it would have been really nice to like have a Raccoon City street section, a city section. Instead, we're just like rushed to the police station, which is where I see Resident Evil mostly taking place. It doesn't just take place in a police station. It takes place also in a sewer, in a lab, in a factory. Like, it has all these different locations, but I was very disappointed with the way that Resident Evil 2 was made. Now that 3 came out, I wish I had the box for 3. I'm sorry. All I can show you guys is the box for the remake of 1 and the box for remake of 2. So 3 comes out, and Resident Evil 3 Remake, the city section is just so lame. It's so linear. First of all, that freaking intro, the intro to Resident Evil 3 Remake is also something that pisses me off a lot. Like, cinematic wise, what the heck? Like, are you serious? First of all, like, it's just showcasing chaos, but it's like not even like zombie chaos. It's just like fucking rioting. Like where are the zombies in this intro? Like, it would have been so cool. Like, it's such a missed opportunity. If you Google intro to Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, the original that came out in 1999, and then you watch the Resident Evil 3 2020 intro, you tell me which one you think is better. Deadass. That's just like one small point of how I feel about this game. The intro is just so ridiculous. The gameplay intro is also kind of, it's not that bad actually, I'll admit. The intro to Resident Evil 3, as far as the gameplay goes, it's not that bad. It's not. It's pretty interactive, pretty fun, but it's also like very linear. I knew where I was going the whole time. Like, I wanted to get lost. I wanted to try to fumble through doors, try to find my own way out of the building that you start in. Like, instead, like, literally, it's like a train ride. And it's like, I don't want to play a game with a train ride, especially not a Resident Evil game, especially not a remake of 3. Like, are you fucking kidding me right now? I actually want to traverse and like explore and get lost and get killed and, you know, maybe find an exit here, and then in my next playthrough exit another way. Like, the game could have been so much more than what it was, is what I'm trying to say. Brad Vickers was not at all expanded. I heard so many rumors. Of course there were rumors, and of course I took them for a grain of salt, okay? But still, it's just nice to believe, it's nice to be hopeful that there's going to be an expansion to this beautiful game. And really, it was just, if anything, cut. There's things cut. Brad Vickers' role was the same, if anything. I mean, he's somewhat expanded, just maybe a little bit expanded, and it is changed around a bit. It's just kind of just such a, like, what did you guys do to this story of Brad? In the original 2 and 3, the Brad Vickers that I like encountered, I loved. And then here in this new iteration, it's like a slap in my face. I'm sorry. I was like, what the fuck? Same thing with Dario Russo. There were so many rumors that Dario Russo was going to be expanded upon in Resident Evil 3 Remake. Yes, there were rumors. Yes, I took them for a grain of salt. But still, Dario Russo was like fucking shortened up the fucking ass. Like, really? Oh my god. Like, and there's some characters that were expanded. Don't get me wrong. Like, what they did with Tyrell, oh my god, thank you. What they did with Marvin, thank you. Like, I really like that they expanded both of those characters a lot. I definitely loved the Carlos look. I love the Jill look. The Jill look in the new Resident Evil game, it's beautiful to me. It's a nice look, but they should have saved that for like another Jill game. Like, that look, they changed it too much. I'm sorry. I know that they're going for realism, but I don't give a damn. Like, where's her tube top and miniskirt? You know, and then Carlos, I really, really dig what they did. They like made his hair look kind of like mine, like crazy. Nemesis, I'm not gonna say he's horrible in the remake. I don't think he's horrible. I just don't think he's better than the original. And I'm very like when people say, oh, nothing will ever be better than the original, I'm like, girl, sit down, have a seat, like lay down, go to sleep. Some things can be better than the original. You know, if it was just well thought out, creative, and just updated and sleeker or whatever, it's better than the original. I think look wise, I like the new Nemesis a lot more, but personality and like motivations and plot and just everything about this new Nemesis is kind of a downgrade to the original. Like, honestly, like the game's just like really freaking short. How are you gonna tell me that this game, the setting starts at like what, 8 p.m. on September 28th, and then it's supposed to end on October 1st in the morning, and like freaking at dawn at like, I don't know, let's just say 6 in the morning, September 28, 29, 30, and then it's like what, like 4 days? It's really 3 days, really. So Resident Evil 2 is actually sandwiched in between Resident Evil 3, which I love that. I think it's just so interesting how Resident Evil 2 is literally right in between 3. Like 3 starts first, and then 2, and then 3 ends, if that makes sense. It's sandwiched in, and it's interesting, especially for a sequel. I think it's a pretty interesting way of making that sequel. Jesus Christ. How are you going to tell me that this game is like 3 days worth of a story, and then you're literally only playing it for like max an hour and a half? I literally beat this game in an hour and 45 minutes. I hear people saying that Resident Evil 3 original is a short game. I always took like 3 hours playing it, and then Resident Evil 2, I always took like 2.5 hours playing it. And I like literally probably do everything. But that's just something I don't really get, and I don't really go hard on it on the original. I know the original had that, the whole like, okay, this game's supposed to like, the story tells you it takes like a bunch of hours, but really the gameplay is just like 2 hours. Okay, I understand the original did that, but for the remakes to do that also, it's like, come on, like you should have fixed that. That should have been a flaw you fixed, and you didn't. You just did the same bullshit. And I'm just like, I don't know, that pissed me off a lot, how short these games are. Cut enemies. Yeah, Resident Evil 3 cut enemies as well. They cut the spiders and they cut the crows as well. That's what Resident Evil 2 Remake did. They cut the spiders and they cut the crows, and then they cut the moth in Resident Evil 2. Now Resident Evil 3, they cut the spiders, they cut the crows, and they cut the gravedigger, which is this big giant worm that was very iconic because it was like the only other boss besides Nemesis in Resident Evil 3 original. So now all we ever do is get one fucking boss in Resident Evil 3 Remake, which is Nemesis. This is really annoying. What they did with these remakes is just kind of a slap in our faces. Like I said, I recommend you play them regardless and have your own opinion on them. I am not saying don't buy them, don't play them, like burn it. Like, no, like I'm not going to be an asshole about my opinion, but I'm going to be real. I didn't really have a favorable opinion about these two games, 2 Remake and 3 Remake. I feel like they just were slapping my face. I feel like I expected more, I expected better. The bar is already set extremely high with Resident Evil 1 Remake, and these games did not surpass it. That's just my opinion, okay? I did enjoy Resident Evil 3. I did. In case you didn't know, if you buy Resident Evil 3, you get another game called Resident Evil Resistance, which is a fun game. Not a good Resident Evil game, but it is a fun-ass game. It's an online multiplayer game, and it's 4 versus 1. You play as 4 survivors versus 1 person who's just like throwing all these creatures and traps at you. Really, really fun, really, really cool, but it's not a good Resident Evil game as in like survival of like a story, campaign, survival horror itself. It's a surviving game, but it's more like arcadey-ish, action-ish. There is horror in it too, of course. It is scary. I do be screaming. But anyways, if you didn't know, Resident Evil 3 buying it comes with Resident Evil Resistance. So thank you, Capcom, for that. Resident Evil 3 Remake, overall, honestly, I give it like, honestly, I give it like a 4. Like, I know people are giving it a 7, but I'm gonna be honest, to me, it's a 4. It's just a terrible representation of Resident Evil 3. Like, people are gonna really think that this is Resident Evil 3 when it's really not. It's just like some fucking new story, and it's just, it's not for me. The game's not for me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry if you don't agree with me. I'm so sorry if my opinion is pissing you off. Like, I don't mean to piss off the makers of the game. I don't mean to piss off people who really genuinely love this game. I really, really don't. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not an asshole. I'm not trying to be like bashing the damn thing, but it's just, I've really been with this franchise for a really long time, and what Capcom has been doing with this franchise is just, to me, it's just a dead thing. I'll continue to love and support Resident Evil, but if they keep releasing trash, I'm just gonna call it out. Like, I'm sorry, it's just not good quality. Like, I know Resident Evil, I know it can be better than what we're getting, and it just sucks. I'm sorry, it just freaking sucks, and it's just pissing me off, and I don't mean to like be an asshole like I said, but Resident Evil 3, 4 out of 10, that's my opinion. Have a good day, everybody. Peace.